You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marci Persky. In this installment, a little internet paranoia, Marci's goats carry around a strange door prize, and DNA testing for dogs, or, hey, can I have $50? I'm having safety anxiety today. Some Facebook friend I don't know sent me a message, which people can do on Facebook, and then asked if he could call me. I mean, everybody has their own call thing. It's kind of a communication security IED. Now that you've said one nice thing to this person, they can call you on Facebook unless you block them.
Yep.
It's all too much. And then to scare me even more, I think it was the Washington Post that had one of those nightmare stories where during the COVID lockdown, when doctors weren't seeing people in person, some guy's kid had a swelling on his genital area, and he was a stay-at-home dad. He changes the diaper, he does the, and so he sent a note to the pediatrician's website, and the pediatrician said, send a photograph of the affected area.
Is this relating to child porn?
Yeah, the guy sends a picture on request of the pediatrician. The pediatrician writes a prescription. He prescribes the drug. The kid is fine. And all of a sudden, the police are investigating. All his accounts are shut down. They went through everything on his Google images, like including a picture of his wife, like nursing the baby in bed, which of course means that she's naked and the baby is, one of these pictures that you buy in a greeting card, basically.
Yeah.
A picture you could walk into any church and see. And they.
That's why I'm really, really careful about any pictures that I open, keep, or send. Eve, the baby child, is on one of those dating Tinder things, swipe right or left or whatever.
Yeah.
And as much as we love our first responders, she said the worst are the firefighters.
Really?
And she actually received a video from a firefighter making his man unit dance around.
What?
And she showed it to me. It was to music. And she's dancing. And she said, this is the problem with firefighters. And so she sent it on Snapchat to all her friends. She sent it to everybody she knew.
Good.
Before she blocked this guy.
When you have a 24-hour shift and then 3 days off,
you might get a little
you get bored and a little bit overtired. And what I have to say is that if this stuff keeps up and this guy's local, women in your area are just going to set fires to keep these guys occupied so that they quit sending pictures of their privates unsolicited.
You know what? When you said that, I just remembered, and this is true. We saw him in a grocery store like a week later, but he said, Mom, it's Wiener Man. And I turned around. And there he was. We just started laughing.
Yeah, I would have gotten a big parsnip and waved it in front of him and said, this look familiar?
So I have to show you my beverage of consumption.
Yeah.
Usually when we're podcasting, I have my giant bottle of water. Well, today I have Diet Coke because I found it in the fridge. And I haven't had one of these for so long. It had to have been in my fridge since the last time Molly was here, which would be more than a year ago.
It doesn't spoil.
It obviously doesn't. It's like the cockroach of beverages. I'm not telling you what it
will
is,
survive nuclear war, your can of Diet Coke. That's probably true. It is kind of reassuring to know that it lasts forever. We have pop that we bought for the block party last year, and we didn't finish it. A whole big case of it. So we put it in the garage, and then we had to move it into the house in the winter so it didn't freeze and explode. And next week is the block party, and we're going to bring out the flat of ancient carbon datable, carbonated, whatever we have. It's not even name brand pop. It might be from the dollar store for all I know, but I know it will taste just the same as it would have at last year's block party. Speaking of unhealthy things to eat, we had the big cutie home visiting us. We tried to make it a culturally enriching as well as a family week. So we took him to the late night at the Art Institute for the Cezanne exhibit. It was a whole new chapter. He did not leave his dirty socks anywhere in the main family portion of the house at all.
Wow.
Not even once. And he made his bed almost every
Wow.
day. And
didn't make you want to break out in song?
I did. I
A
started.
whole new world.
Yes, I think that's the song I picked. And then one time, like yesterday, just before he was due to leave, I walked by the dining table and saw a used plate with a bunch of stuff on it. And I said, "That your dirty dish?" And he said, "No, it's a still life. I went to Cezanne yesterday." And I thought, well, points for that. And I said, well, will you take your Cezanne and put it in the sink, please? For those who aren't familiar, Cezanne was famous for painting still lifes of fruit and pictures and then strange things thrown in there to the bargain. Like, I don't know, he would put in a carpet. Like, here's your fruit, here's your pitcher of water, and here's a piece of carpet. He would do stuff like that. So this Cezanne had a crumpled up napkin and avocado peel, and it was dark, so I didn't want to look at the rest of it. So yeah, but he had a humorous reply, and so I forgave the dirty dish.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's progress. 23 years after he was born, my child has learned not to leave his dirty laundry around the house, to make his bed almost every day, and to 5 days out of 6 put his dirty dishes in the dishwasher. So I call that good momming, and I'm going to feel victorious for the next several weeks.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Well, I have a puppy who's quickly teaching people who aren't me not to leave underwear and socks and things that they adore lying on the floor.
Uh-huh.
I found a goat carrying around some underwear the other day, and I'm like, huh, where did you get this?
A goat carrying around your underwear.
Okay. Which new little friend brought this from inside the house, out the dog door, into your yard, and presented you with it?
I would love to have seen that interaction.
Yeah.
Look what I found. Look, I found some lacy underwear. Would you like it?
It wasn't lacy, but
if this dog is regularly collecting your underwear, maybe you should put the stuffed toys in your jeans and wear them around for a couple of days before you let him have them, like those weird fetish sites on the internet.
No.
Maybe this dog thinks that someday he'll be called upon to do something heroic and track a missing child from its underwear. Maybe it's some kind of hound or retriever.
Well, I think I told you we sent in DNA tests on all 3 dogs.
Right.
Which my husband just can't even believe that I spent money on that. He's still probably sitting out on the front deck. He'll listen to this and he's going to go, and I keep telling him, it's only $50. And he's like, I can't believe it. I want to know what they are. They're my kids. I want to know if Scarlett Johansson is Corgi St. Bernard.
And?
We don't know yet, but they received them. So now we're waiting for the test. I've got a thing on my email today saying that they finally received all 3 of them.
See, if I were running a dog DNA thing, do you remember when all those scandals broke about people who were supposed to be cryogenically frozen, and it turned out they were just keeping them in regular freezers, and sometimes the power would go out, and they were just a bunch of, they were like if you bought a pound of a hamburger, and sometimes it defrosted and sometimes it frosted, and then it got freezer burned. That's how they were treating people who were spending thousands of dollars. And on top of that, there was additional scandal, unrelated but similar, involving freezers, with people who were supposed to have their eggs and their sperm cryogenically frozen for future use, and stuff was happening to that. People were turning out with babies that weren't genetically related to them. So if I had one of those dog DNA things, I mean, how's anybody going to really know whether you ran that test or whether you ran it on the proper sample? It's so tempting to just go, what do you want to say this one is, Fred? Let's just say it's a cross between a dachshund and a Weimaraner. That sounds good.
But that's what we do in rescue. I mean,
exactly.
People say, oh, I want a Russian gray. So I go find a gray cat. And I go, here, it's a Russian gray. Or we have some cats that have funky ears because of ear mites. they had ear mites that were not treated, so it folds their ears over.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a Scottish fold. It's purebred. It's a Taylor Swift cat.
Is that what you're telling me came out of that hoarder lady's house that you thought were Scottish fold, that they were not Scottish fold? They were just cats with untreated ear mites?
Up ears. Yeah. But I still say they're Scottish folds.
Oh, now the truth comes out. So here's what, if I
want to know what my dogs are.
If I were Frankie and I were sitting on the porch right now, it would grind my girdle even further to know that probably the recipient of your $50 did nothing other than like spin a wheel of dog breeds, pick 3, and put them on they don't even have to. What are you going to say to them? You got a dog that ostensibly, according to the vet, is part Chihuahua and part Saint Bernard.
Well, no, she's a corgi, and I mean, I just want to justify.
She's not a corgi. She's about as much a corgi as I am a wooden rocking horse.
Well, she's got corgi feet. She only has 2-inch long legs. I guess it could be Basset Hound.
It could be anything, is my point. It could be anything. And you just spent $50 for somebody to tell you what you already know, which is that who the hell knows? It could be anything. And they can make stuff up. And if I had a business like that, I wouldn't even bother having a laboratory. The money would come in. I'd have several books of dog breeds of the world. I'd make up a bunch of excrement. I'd write it on a form. I'd send it back to you. Yeah.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
If I told you that $50 would bring me joy, would you object to me spending that $50?
But that's not what you said.
It brings me joy.
What you said was, I want to know what they are. And
I do, and it'll bring me joy.
And my response is, you still won't know what they are, because those places are, in my opinion, probably spinning the wheel of breeds. I don't believe that they're really testing anything at all.
I'll let you know when I find out.
Oh, the lie that they told me is...
And then I'm going to go and hook them up to machines and just make sure that they ran the test, and they're not just telling me, like when you go into the shelter and say, I need a purebred husky, and they say, ooh, this one has a lot of hair. So there you go.
So what you're saying is that you think they will be more ethical than you are.
Pretty much, I hope.
That's what you're saying.
I owe 3/4 of the world at this point. All my ethics are like flying away really quickly.
That's what a podcast will do.
Yes. I'm shedding ethics as we speak.
Well, I want a podcaster with some ethics. Well, this one's got a lot of hair.
Yep.
If you've made it this far, chances are you've been enjoying Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. In which case, you might also like my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. You can find that at your neighborhood independent bookstore or on Amazon. Marci and I really appreciate your good reviews wherever you care to leave them. Your kind words help the podcast grow. Thanks.